I want people to feel seen and heard. I hope my music can highlight the beauty of human interactions and the complexities of that. Every situation is different and unique, and I want them to know that the music can meet them there where they're at.
All right, here we go. Welcome back to another episode of the Connecting Creators podcast. Today we have a very special guest. She's a singer, an artist, and a producer. Please welcome to the show, Arianna Reid. How are you
Hi,
doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm excited to talk to you and hear your story and music and all that. You just released your first single, Love Heals All. Congratulations on that, by the way. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
And it did really well. Um, So when did you know it was time to start transitioning from making covers to making your own music?
That was always the plan. I feel like when I made covers, it also was just a little bit of a break for me. I guess I put a lot of pressure on myself to put music out, and if I had any roadblocks, I just felt so frustrated. So it was like my breakaway. And in the back of my mind, every time I made a cover, I was like, I'm gonna put music out. I want to be an artist,
Mhm.
but I just didn't know how long that would take.
Right.
So I guess to answer your question, I always wanted to make music while I was making covers. Yeah.
Okay, okay. That's how most people go, so that's fair.
Hmm.
Um, is there anything that you learned like from making the covers that helped your songwriting ability? Because like obviously you're gotta memorize all these different songs, so you see the structure and all that.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, is there anything that you took from doing covers and stuff?
I would say just making things my own. Like it's okay to be different. It's okay to pave your own sound and to just take up that space. Yeah, that's what I learned. And to
Right.
apply it to my own music.
Okay. Your sound is made wow, I can't speak. Your sound is made to highlight human connection and like healing and like self-reflection and all that stuff. So how's your
Mhm.
background studying like music therapy help you develop that sound?
Wow, I feel like it's so interconnected.
Hmm.
Studying music therapy, it's just really about that human connection, really meeting the needs of your clients and the
Right.
people you're working with. So I just kind of apply that to my own music. I'm not going to meet the needs of every single person who's listening, but
Mhm.
I might be able to in their own way, however they interpret it. And just that human experience through the lyrics and I guess just even sonically, the way like I emotionally emote through the songs, I feel like that is how we can bond person to person, whether in person or far apart. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So how was your time like studying that? Because I was actually last summer trying to get a musical therapist on to talk about like some deep topics I had. But I kept like confusing them with like a psychologist and a therapist. But anyways,
So
um,
many things. I know.
it was somewhere in there. So yeah, what was your experience like studying that?
Honestly, I loved it. I loved it. So
Mhm.
I went to university for 4 years and then I didn't get to specialize in music therapy until my third year.
Okay.
And there it was amazing getting to do like my internship at the hospital and just in different locations with different bodies of people. Yeah, I felt like that was always my plan B
Right.
for a career because I knew I always wanted to be an artist, but I just love working with people, so especially children. So this was just right up my alley. Of course, I'm pursuing
Right.
music
Your own career, right?
now,
Right.
but if anything, I know
Mhm.
I can always be a music therapist, but
Mhm.
plan A.
No, that's awesome. Something else that really stood out to me when I was looking into you was the fact that you produce a lot of music.
Yeah.
And even though like today it's more common for like artists to produce their own songs, for like female artists, especially in R&B, it's not.
Yeah.
And so I just want to know how you got started in producing not only your own music, but other people's music.
Honestly, wasn't that long ago. I would say maybe 2, 3 years ago.
Okay,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I was in university. And I guess at the time, I would always look up tutorials, even though I didn't have the equipment or I didn't really
Mhm.
understand how to navigate it at the time. So I would just watch it in my spare time just to like learn how to work the DAW and
Right.
just different ones. I didn't know which one I wanted to use. Um, the way I got into it, I did struggle to get beats from other producers myself as an artist.
Okay.
And I was just so discouraged. Like I would go home and I was just so upset. And I started to slowly acquire equipment like my mic and my interface. And then I still didn't know how to make the beats, um, besides like just gaining this knowledge. I did come across a few people who would give me beats later,
Hmm.
and one of them was a producer, and he was like, you know exactly what you want. You're instructing me. Why don't you try it? And it was just kind of like as a joke. And then it
Right.
was really good. And he just gave me, some tools. And then it's like, I don't have the most, but you can try to make it work with what you have.
Right.
And it really worked at it. I never showed anybody my beats for a while. I just kept working. And then I started making samples for other artists to get on. So I'll make the melody for the most part. I'll leave the drums open just so I could collaborate with other producers, and maybe get
Right.
placements. And one thing to make it a little different, I would add my vocals on top and maybe sing the hook. So a little bit of songwriting elements in there.
Right.
Um, yeah, and then I guess I became confident enough to create for myself, and that's the thing. Sometimes you're your own hardest critic, and by then I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a sound for myself that is unique and that's different that I never heard. Yeah.
Right. Was your first production placement the Freddie Gibbs song or the Daniel Caesar song?
So my first production placement would be the Freddie Gibbs, but my
Okay.
first vocal placement was with Daniel Cesar.
Okay, so your first production placement then was Freddie Gibbs' song Black Illuminati. You ended up working with Grammy nominated producer Business Boy. So how did you guys meet and like get into contact?
Honestly, it's somewhat connected to my Daniel Caesar placement.
Okay.
Around that time when I first got that, I was just connecting with so many people. And I guess, the more placements you get, more people become like comfortable
Right.
naturally. And yeah, it was just organic through social media. And then eventually I sent samples. At
Mhm.
first, I was kind of nervous because I never did that at the time.
Yeah.
But then I was just going for it with different producers, and then he just always gave something back and really contributed amazing music back and sent it out
Mhm.
most of the time. So,
Right. Do you like meet the artists that you make the songs for or no?
I met Daniel. I haven't
Okay,
met
okay,
Freddie Gibbs or
okay,
Jada Gibbs, and I haven't met Jazzy.
okay.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah.
Mhm. For sure. So then we'll get into the Daniel Caesar one a little bit. So on that one, you provided the vocals that you mentioned.
Hmm.
Um, the song was Too Deep to Turn Back by Daniel Caesar, right?
Yeah.
So what was your experience like working with another Canadian artist like Daniel Caesar?
Honestly, it was amazing. It was very organic, so genuine, and also very inspiring seeing someone from the GTA doing these amazing things, creating the music that I one day want to make and creating an impact that I want to make. So,
Right.
yeah, I was definitely inspired.
Now there's a third one that you did with how you say their name? Is it Jazzy or
Yeah.
Jazzy, right? Okay, so Again, you work with Business Boy on the song Commotion by Jazzy.
She good, I'm good, we golden. Yeah. Can't fix what isn't broken.
So what's like your process like when you create a song where you like produce and sing?
I'll always go into FL and I'll make a melody and I'll make sure that it's not too crowded. I just love simple melodies, but I love that they can have depth to them too, to
Right.
some extent. It's just more like your sound selection. And then once I like something and I leave space for the artist and for the other producer or producers,
Mhm.
I'll sing something on it. So whether it's a hook, whether it's just like my vocals, doing vocal runs, and so I'll record it and
Mhm.
then I'll send it to the producers. Yeah. Or sometimes, yeah, the producers are the artists, but it depends.
Do you like work on like a bunch of different like beats that you come up with, or are you thinking about who you're gonna like send them to, like as you're working on them?
Both.
Okay, okay,
Both.
okay.
Um, I'll always try to make a good amount, like
Mhm.
just because I know from my perspective as an artist, I'd love to have options. And sometimes you love an idea, and just because you love it doesn't mean that you can sing on it or that that's what's going to inspire you or spark an idea. So I love just to give as many options as possible. If somebody asks me for a specific artist, I'll still make it with them in mind, but add my style to it too. So
Okay,
fusion. Yeah.
okay. I was looking through your Instagram and Timbaland reacted to your beat that you made.
But this right here, this shit sound like Secret Garden. Yeah, these are from my guys, you know what I'm saying, that I pick VIPs, beat club, and we just chilling out. Feel me? This shit could be in the museum.
Can you just describe that experience and what that's like?
Honestly, it was so amazing because it wasn't just like this is a good beat or this is cool. It was really in depth. The way he described the way it made him feel and just like the aspects of the beat and even he had like references to compare it to and that it was like a Quincy Jones reference. So I was like, wow, this is amazing, especially somebody you really look up to and gain inspiration from. I feel like I gained a lot of inspiration from him just listening to his music growing up, and him and Missy Elliott
Mhm.
really created their own sonic world. So that is going to be a moment that stays with me just because they will always inspire me. I feel like every time I make a beat.
Right.
Yeah.
Was that beat that they were reacting to? Was that like a release song or something or no?
No, so it was a sample I made. I really love it. So maybe one day I will put it
Okay.
out. Artists put out stuff like an interlude or, you know,
Mhm.
um, yeah, I feel like it's definitely one of my favorite samples I've ever made.
Now we'll talk about how I came across you and how I'm sure a lot of people came across you, which is the Gender Act Music TikTok that they did.
What are your top five R&B songs right now?
Right now, Joy by Party Next Door.
I'll let you tell the story. So what essentially happened? You were just at McDonald's or something like that?
I did get something because I went to church earlier and I was like volunteering with the kids there.
Right.
And I was just so tired after. So I was like, I need something to eat. I'm so hungry. And then I ran like with my brother to catch the train downtown
Mhm.
from Mississauga. And yeah, so we were all seeing the James Vickery concert
Okay.
at the Drake Hotel. And I was like, it was spontaneous. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna just go. Like, I'm not, I'm just gonna go. And I didn't expect for him to do a video. So it caught me off guard. And I was happy to answer because I love music. I threw in my faves and then I threw in commotion at the end.
Right.
Just to let people know that I
Right.
posted it and that I was listening to it. Yeah, it was so spontaneous. So even if you know people, it still could be a spontaneous moment, and it was.
Right.
Yeah, 100%.
See, I didn't realize I was in Canada. I thought I was in LA or something like that.
No, it's like Toronto.
Okay. Did he ask you beforehand, or did he just come up to your face with like,
It
come
was
on,
like, hey, like, how are you? And then it was like, yeah,
right into it? Okay.
yeah. And I was like,
Yeah,
wow. Yeah.
that's funny. All the comments on that video has like I think over 1 million views and stuff like that.
It's
Uh,
like almost at 3 million views now,
is
I
it
think.
really? Okay.
I could have never guessed, but it's so amazing. I know my song wasn't out at the time, but
Mm,
even just being able to react to the video and say, hey, like, if anyone was looking for my playlist, because there was a lot of comments like that.
mhm.
Follow me early before I drop, and by the time it dropped, I can include it in the
Right.
playlist. People have been listening through there, so
That
anyone
was
that has, thank you.
that was like the most genius way. As soon as somebody used a playlist, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, well, I
Yeah,
almost pulled this off. I was like, oh my God, you like, I noticed, I don't know if you noticed this about yourself, but you're good at like understand like the timing of things.
it just happens, and I feel like you have to roll with the punches of life. I'm a Christian, so I'm like, God just lets things happen,
Right.
and if you just go with it and have faith, you may not be successful right away, but you
Mhm.
know what? A win is a win. And if 100 people listen, if 500 people listen before a million do, that's still a beautiful experience. So I have to
Right.
take it in like that as a blessing. So, yeah.
Definitely. Definitely. So when you were originally asked this question, what are your top five R&B songs right now? You
Uh,
answered
yeah.
Joy by Party Next Door, Rule 143 by Reggie Becton, Outside Freestyle by Raheem, My All
Yeah.
by Mariah Carey, and then Commotion, which you produced by Jazzy.
Mhm.
So that was back in May. Do you have an updated list for me at all?
I can give you an update list. So you want top
Okay.
five?
Yeah, so what are your top five R&B songs right now?
A whole new list. I'll say Comes with the Damage by Chase Shakur.
Either way, no, I can't take advantage. No, it's not how you planned it at all. Last one's left me stranded.
I'll say Safe by Ye Ali featuring December.
Safe round, make me wrap my cape around you. No, I don't play about you.
Never heard of either of them. Okay.
Yeah, it's really good. I'll say there's this song, I'd say Mama by Laren Wong.
My way when the lights turn down and the money's low. Would you think to stay? But when the blue skies turn to gray and the spotlight starts to fade, she be talking to her mama about me. Mama.
Okay.
Um, I'll say Too Good by Raheem.
I'm too good to act like you don't. No, I'm too good and girl, you know.
That's four. That's four, right? I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
say
that's for
one. Love
Love
Heals
Heals
All
All.
by Arianna Reid.
Like I'm surrounded by angels soon as you step in my space.
My bad, but I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just like sorry.
I was like, ooh, I have one. Yeah.
The only thing I was missing, I don't know if you noticed it when you rewatched that TikTok like I did, but you kept going side to side on your face.
Oh my God.
It was so funny.
It was so spontaneous. So,
So
yeah.
was he just going like this the whole
We
time
were
with his
just like,
phone?
hey, hey, yeah. Like,
Okay. I seen a comment where they're like flaming him for that. They're like, "Why are you going side to side on your face like that?"
I didn't know what to expect. I thought it was just like, of course, he has an amazing platform, but you're just chilling.
Yeah.
Um,
You had fun with
Exactly. It wasn't perfect moment, but
it. It
yeah,
led to better things, so that's
yeah,
good. So yeah, that was a great list. You put me on to like three whole new songs that I never even heard before.
yeah. Listen,
Um, yeah, and obviously you got to plug yourself at the end, so I respect that. Um, so so like you mentioned, there's all these comments asking you for your playlist, and everyone's like, "Oh, she's got great taste in music, this and that." How did you develop your taste in music?
my taste in music started very young. So, of course, I mentioned at church, and there's so much musicality that comes from there. But also, when I was at home, my parents have like a deep love for R&B, and they have a
Right.
lot of like, records and yeah, tapes. So I always heard both of those styles of music. So I grew up listening to Babyface and Whitney Houston, Joe, Mariah Carey, Luther Vandross,
Right.
like so many, 112, like
Mm.
anything from the 90s. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And that diversity and knowing the different aspects of music and where you can take it, partnered with what I learned at school, I felt like the fusion of it all really impacted me, and let me decide what aspects I like for myself. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that playlist that you made had like 1,000 saves on it from when I looked last night. You putting everyone onto the playlist was like very smart marketing wise because now you put your song in there. Um, but just before we get into that, what is the key to making a great playlist?
Oh my gosh. I love playlists, first of all.
Mhm.
So I didn't expect to be making a playlist for anyone to listen to, but in my phone, I have like hundreds of private
Right,
playlists.
right.
And I feel like sequencing is such a big part of playlist and making a project.
Mhm.
Just the order of it and the flow. I also feel like staying within the same musical genre and then slowly fading into another, still sequencing.
Mhm.
That's a huge key. I know some people make playlists and it's like trap,
Right.
R&B, country, and then you know, but
Yeah.
that like effortless flow, I think I love that. So it's
Okay.
not gonna be perfect every time, but a lot of songs go together that you wouldn't have guessed, you know. So
Now you might have to put me onto some of those private playlists because I have like every see the issue with me is every time I make a playlist, I get sick of it after like a week.
yeah, that's why I have so many. But
Yeah.
I'll put my heart into it, and then I'll just be like, I need a new one. Yeah.
Right. The final question that we ask every guest, and I'm really curious to hear your answer for this.
Mhm.
What is the lasting impact that you want to leave with people when like they hear your music or they interact with you in person?
I want people to feel seen
Mm,
and heard. I know that I want to make an impact sonically for carving my own path. That's something I know I'm going to always work at with my career and trying different styles of music and just different approaches just to achieve that goal.
mm,
Um, I want to make a lasting impression on women everywhere that you can take up space and you can be strong and you can be independent.
mm,
Uh, so much so that it really inspires. That I feel like I want to inspire anybody, but that would just resonate with me in a whole different way. Um, yeah, and I did write in my Spotify bio just highlighting the beauty of human interactions and the complexities of that. And
mm,
I want people to know that every situation is different and unique. And I want them to know that the music can meet them there where they're at. So I hope my music can highlight a lot of different human
mm.
interactions. I won't experience them all, but
Right.
I feel like it can be applicable. And whether it's a real life experience for me or just something I was manifesting through the music or something. I just imagine like music is so expressive. So hopefully I can just meet people where they're at, even
Right.
if I didn't go through it yet. Yeah.
Very quickly, or take your time if you want. Uh, let the people know where to follow you and where to find your music on Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff.
Okay, so you can follow me everywhere at underscore Ari Reid. So ARIREID.
Mhm.
And on Spotify, Apple Music, just all platforms, you could type in Arianna Reid. So
Mhm.
ARIANNA Reid REID. Yeah.
Awesome. And you'll be right under Ariana Grande, most likely, when you're
Hey,
searching that.
probably.
Well, again, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. And for you to share your story and all that stuff, it was really good. And I think a lot of the people watching or listening will take something from it. And hopefully in the future, when you release a lot more projects, we can have you on and maybe do like an in the studio episode or something like that. I love doing those with
Wow,
artists.
that'd be
Uh,
nice. Thank you for having me, and I can't wait to reconnect later in the future.
Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been the Connecting Creators podcast, and we'll see you guys in the next one.